Okay, it is 10:08 a.m. 10:09 actually. Let's see if this thing can actually break the day low at 868, if it's gonna do it or if it's gonna uptrend. I did try a trade and I was on it for 2 minutes. I just didn't really feel that good about the price action anymore, and the idea is that this is a morning panic bounce play. It had this uptrend. I missed here and I missed here. Maybe because I don't have the best sleep right now and I just hesitated too much, but this was an opportunity. This was something I could have taken. It did make a nice move, although it is kind of hard to trade this one because it does trade with a bit of a spread. And this one again was also another opportunity. I was in it at 10:05, which was right here at 874. Right here, I had a good entry right here, thinking, maybe it's gonna be a higher low off of this level, right? But it did make an uptrend towards this 880, but it didn't break it. And when it made this wick that was lower than this little range right here, it just kind of threw me off. In theory, I should have probably have stuck to my risk level, which would have been this 870 level breaking or 872, just to give myself some room if 872 breaks under, and then I can maybe sell in the 870s. Worst case scenario, I'm out in the 860s, the low 860s. But let's see if this one can actually hold itself around this level and uptrend, or if it's going to break the day low. I did get out 2 minutes later because of that price action. I just didn't like the wick right there, and I did sell at 875, and that was at 10:07. The sketchy candle right here. I sold right here and I bought right here. Barely made anything. It trades with a spread. Ideally, I could have maybe sold at 879 or 880. It did break past 880 here, but then it just immediately got sold off into, and now it's at this range. So it's not looking the best. There isn't really anything else that I'm interested in. Nothing with ILUS, nothing with HMBL. DPLS is just trading back and forth, nothing really clean. If it has like a big, I might miss it, like a panic, I might be interested in that, but I don't know if it's going to do it today. It could. And as for KG, no interest with this one, although, yeah, I just broke the day low briefly. Probably not interested in it, just because it's been up so many days at this point. IFXY was interesting, the way it broke past this level. Somebody's ringing the door. I'll be back. Alright, I am back. I forgot where I was going with IFXY, but I was watching this in the morning for a morning spike, and it just didn't seem like it had the momentum, so I didn't buy it, but I was interested in it, and yeah, I mean, it did not really uptrend, but eventually it did. However, the way it did it was kind of ugly. It held around the 40 level here briefly. It was kind of sketchy, but it did hold in the uptrend, and I don't mind missing this part at all. It's just interesting because, it had like a nice update, some more volume than usual. It kind of broke out of this 40 range. Maybe if I had more conviction, I could have considered longing it at 41, risking 40 breaking. There was a point when 40 broke and 40 was at the ask, but nobody ever hit the bid at 39, and there was support at 39, but at that point it wasn't that nice. But it did do it. It just wasn't that nice looking, if you ask me. And LKNCY did break the level, so I'm glad I tried there just to go over it again. I was in at 10:05 right here, and I got out 10:07. I didn't make much. I might have made what, like, I don't know, like 20 pennies. Not very much. I'll make an update later. I might not have as much interest, but I do like how it kind of drops near this range. It could try to find support anywhere around here and do some kind of a turnaround, but maybe this one is just not going to do it because it is a higher price OTC, and those don't, tend to work that well. But I'll make an update later to see what this one does. Okay, it is 10:37. I'm feeling a bit uneasy about this setup, but in theory, this thing can try to hold $8. Maybe it won't, and it'll break under it because it's been downtrending the entire time. But in theory, it can hold this $8 level because it's a nice round number way at the bottom. It actually managed to break all the support right here, so You know, it could just play off of the number $8, maybe, and in theory, it can try to turn around and make a move towards the upside. Just don't like the way this one trades, the spread that it has, but let's see if it tries to re-break the day low again. The day low is 796. It's it's trying to hold, but I mean, it could break under it just because of the fact it's been doing it the entire morning. It doesn't have to just turn around, but I think it can turn around at some point. It might not be here, but there's a good chance it might be here because, again, it broke under all of the support, max panic, and then, you know, it got to that round number of $8. But if it's too perfect, it might not do it just for that reason. Anyway, I did have a trade and I bought at 1034. It broke this downtrending trend line, had a nice uptrend, and then okay, cool. But when it came back near the day low, 796, holding around that $8 level, I was in it at 1034. I bought at 801, 20 shares. Probably was not sized enough. Probably didn't trade this with a $10 risk level, and it was more ideal here, so I could have been longer, more shares, and I did sell on this immediate uptrend because I just felt like it was some sketchy price action. I placed my sell order at 815. I got failed on the uptrend. Did I get the top? I might have gotten the top. Yeah, I sold at the tippy top at 828. Maybe it was 827.5 or something, but perhaps I sold at the tippy top here. It did sell off immediately. I'd be pretty pissed right now if I didn't sell when it was uptrending and just be like, oh well, okay, it looks like it might have broken the day low just by a little bit. I would probably be getting out even if it holds and it uptrends. Just yeah, just to avoid this. Uh-huh. Yeah, I would have cut it when it broke it just briefly and it was trading around that 795 level. Even though this might turn around at some point, I would no longer be interested in it for that reason. It's also going to be harder for it to push back and break $8, but it can totally do that. I made much more on this other one, obviously, because I mean, I basically bought the bottom and sold at the tippy top, but I probably wasn't sizing enough. I'll make an update later to see what this thing will do later, and there's nothing else that I'm really interested in. I didn't see this actually with IFXY. If this thing were to have broken this 48 level here and maybe went to the mid or high 50s and then it came back and held support and a lot of people were supporting 48s or maybe 50 and it went as high as 60, that could be a setup, but right now this isn't really ideal looking, so yeah, we'll see what this one can do later. I'm not gonna probably trade this one again, even if it gets all the way to VWAP, unless it just looks so nice that I have to trade it. Okay, it is 11 a.m. and this one actually turned around and did a nice move. It broke past $8 and I am considering it for an inverse head and shoulder head, and maybe a shoulder around the $8 level. It depends on how it trades, but you know, I actually don't mind if I miss this one because again, this one just trades weird, but it could totally do it. And I'd like to think this is the case, but maybe this, in theory, big volume right here is maybe some guy who had the same idea that I had around here that it was going to play off of $8. Bought a whole bunch of shares, it uptrended a little, then it downtrended, and even though this is a green volume candle, this could have been somebody who had a lot of shares and they were trying to sell it at the ask, so when people were buying up the ask, that's why it shows as a green candle. So I like to think somebody bought here a whole bunch of shares, so doesn't maybe know what they're doing, they just have a lot of money inherited or whatever, and You know, they panic sold here, and they were selling on the way down. And then it went all the way here. And then this guy said, all right, this is it. It's actually doing it. It's actually going towards the very top. It's going to keep going, you know, right here at the very bottom. I'm buying. He bought a whole bunch of shares and even more. And then here he might have panic sold immediately, you know, or I think somebody new showed up and, you know, started selling a whole bunch of shares, making it look pretty ugly and downtrending. And, you know, maybe the goal is to wipe out that person again. Maybe this is just me wearing a tinfoil hat, but I will be looking at this for maybe an inverse head and shoulders, and maybe I'll risk how much I'm up today, right? Off of this breaking. So maybe worst case scenario, I'm out at 770. If it breaks the low here at the 780 level, I might consider that. And then that one can actually be one that over a longer period of time can head towards some VWAP. So I have that in mind. I might not trade it. I might miss it. I don't mind it. I'm very happy that I got a part of it here. I'm glad to see this one work, even though it was without me. Maybe because I'm just so damn tired. But I will be watching this for inverse head and shoulders. It is 11:16. I just sat through some of the sketchiest price action. I think this one can actually do it, but without me, hey, I don't mind that at all. This was some sketchy mess. I did buy, thinking about that inverse head and shoulders 1109, and that was. This one might even be sketchy enough to break the 793 level, but I'm gonna just guess the price action, the sketchiness just threw me off, and this thing can do it ultimately. But I was in at 1109, which was right here, watching it really closely, and I was in at basically 801. I mean, essentially just $8 flat right here. And then we just went through the sketchy price action, right? And it did get to the 795 level. I would have cut the trade if it were to have broken this range, especially after it was trading in this range for such a long time at 793. I would have immediately have gotten out if it were to have gotten to 792. And it just traded so sketchy. I did have some verified canceled. I did put a sell order at 802. I don't think it's hit 802. Yeah, it's been at 801. It might hit 802 at some point, but I did place an order, and that was 2 minutes later at 11:11, and it just, you know, didn't get to that level at all, or I just didn't get filled. I probably just didn't get filled. It probably did get to 804, and then it downtrended, and I placed a sell order after it got to 804, and it didn't come back to 802. And then 11:14, I did place an order right here to sell at 801, but then it looks like it was trying to turn around and actually make a move towards the upside, but then it looked sketchy again, and that was when I ultimately got out at 11:16. I placed the order again at 801, and I did get filled that time. So if I had to guess, this one's gonna do it, you know, make a move towards the upside, the 820s ideally again. Best case scenario would be breaking VWAP at 845 and maybe even trying to put up a fight in the 860s or more, but this one might even be sketchy enough to break the 793 level, or it might just consolidate here for all I know. So I'm trying not to make too many videos of these little things, but I think each time it's really interesting. And I will make an update to see what this one does ultimately. In theory, I could still be in it, but I don't like how long it's taking. You know, if it's going to do it, it should do it like any minute now because of how long it's been. If it takes too long, then it, you know, it just seems less likely that it's going to do it, even if it does do it. It is 10:48 p.m. and I am here to call it off. Overall, I believe I'm up $5.48, and that was trading LKNCY 3 times. I'm very thankful for Interactive Brokers having proper data that works. It's something that I can use and will continue to use in the future if maybe, for example, next week continuously from now on, or maybe some other time in the future the level 2 doesn't work on E-Trade, I can switch to Interactive Brokers. Well worth the $18 a month if you ask me, especially how I missed out on that super nice setup with JPEX just a few days ago. I'm happy that I didn't ended up you know, having a red week, but still just barely up on the week because I had those few trades with bad data and I missed out again on JPEX. But As for LKNCY, I tried it here. I tried it here. I don't mind missing this one. This one was the best one. And I tried it one more time for that inverse head and shoulders. It didn't work out. It ended up breaking under. It was that sketchy. The inverse head and shoulders. The stock was just sketchy in general. Downtrended more. And as for the other ones, there was nothing really here. HBL nothing, IOUS nothing, CYBL nothing, DPLS continues to be a great candidate for a warning panic bounce play in the future. And the Z offers some dips towards VWAP, but I don't know, it's a bit sporadic the way this one trades, but if I was more aggressive, perhaps I could have considered it. And IFXY did continue, it got as high as 50, which was cool. Very weird looking, I liked LKNCY much more. That's all I have for today. I'll do the weekly recap as usual on Sunday, God willing. And yeah, I hope I can really do more and not just be on the right track so many times, but actually make a decent amount of money day trading and work from there and, you know, trade larger size.